When I began cubing, clock was seen as the black sheep of the WCA, the mad woman in the attic, which we only kept around because it was an original Rubik's puzzle. Nobody practiced it, and a lot of people wanted it gone. So, what happened? Nowadays, clock is the cool new thing. Everyone is taking a bite out of the clock cake. How did this happen? Well, let's take a trip through time and see what saved this event from extinction. Much like Kevin Hayes did for Feet, many top cubing influencers campaigned against clock. The consensus was, although clock should have never been in the WCA, it would be unfair to those who devoted their lives to the event to remove it. But that didn't deter YouTubers such as Matthew Mayernick, CubeMaster, and Cubing Encoded from making negative videos about the subject. I think that these videos are actually pretty good and raise some valid concerns, despite the fact that I overall do disagree with them. Clock is really hard to organize due to the custom cube covers and the difficult judging. The hardware was terrible and difficult to turn, and the theory was non-existent. You just learned the beginner's method and that was it. Clock was the only event where it wasn't about colors, rather it was orientation based. People didn't like how it wasn't spectator friendly. You can't tell how a clock solve is going based on what you can see, apparently. And finally, it's hard to find scramblers due to how unpopular it was. Mayernick applied the marginal benefit concept to the case against clock. Having too many events is a bad thing and makes the WCA bloated. You can compare it to the state of the modern MCU. There were a lot of good projects from Phase 5, but you have to make your way through so much crap to get to them. The MCU as a whole would probably be much tighter and more streamlined if they released only a few films in Phase 5. Now, I don't really agree with a lot of these points. Sure, you can't really see clock and make out what turns are being made, but the same is true for Pyraminx 2x2 and Scube. The entire solve is done before you even have a chance to comment on it. Also, if we really have to remove an event to make time for other events, I would say 7x7 is probably the best choice because a lot of those skills are transferable to 6x6, and cubing careers aren't really wasted because of it. But the concerns about clock theory, judging, cube covers, yeah, those are all pretty valid concerns. And because of these concerns, the average cuber probably wouldn't care if clock was removed. But all that would change very, very soon. For those of you who do not know, Tommy Cherry single-handedly changed the course of cubing history by making a single silly little video about a new clock method he made with the help of Benjamin Paul, Lanji Zhang, and Caleb Treffold. This method promised results unlike any other, promising to solve the entire clock in just 7 moves every time. Tommy called it 7-simul and hyped it up as the fastest clock method out there. It was going to be the future of clock. The popularization of 7-simul simply would have not been as effective if anyone other than Tommy Cherry posted the video. He was the 3-blind world record holder. When he had something to say, everyone listened. Over the next few months, he proved that he wasn't just talk. He got a 372 NAR average and a 297 NAR single, improving at an insane pace before ending it off with a 350 world record average and a world champion title. Now, everyone knew how insane this method was. Cubers from all around the world saw opportunity and decided to strike. After all, getting top 100 would be easy with this new method, wouldn't it? Let's get on this trend before everyone else does. At the same time this happened, the two coolest cubers this side of the Atlantic decided to main clock. Meet Brendyn Dunagan and Luke Garrett, two incredible cubers who made this event much more popular. Their impressive official results as well as their presence on social media made thousands of young cubers suddenly interested in this event. Brendyn and Luke consistently uploaded videos about clock and how cool it was and how fast they were at it. So in the end, how would clock be an L event when the coolest cubers alive were out here doing it? It also helped that clock is one of the best events out there for young cubers. Square one is super difficult to learn due to how many algorithms there are, and the one look events are also similar in this regard. Big cubes are hard because they take so long to solve, but clock doesn't require any algorithms, and that made it a great choice. Now, 7-simul was a great method, but it's not for everyone. What if you don't want to do math? What if you don't like simultaneous moves? What if you hate D moves? Well, the clock theory scene exploded to match the demand. The YouTuber known as Aliz released a video about a potentially good clock method, where there would be no D moves. This was later turned into 7-simul flip, a method that is currently being used by the likes of Reed W. Richardson, Jaden Lin, and Carter Thomas. Gabriel Moras created Optimized Pacman, a similar method that removed one of the D moves from flip using a single simultaneous move. She advertised this as the best method if your goal is sub 7. Other no-flip methods, such as Lu and Eras and Hrid, were created as cubers really began to experiment with this event. Tetrawaffle created 10-move memless, a method that utilized simultaneous moves without needing any memorization. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, solvers began to create clock blind methods, where you memorized every single 7 simul move in inspection. Suddenly we had a lot of transition methods that a solver could use to move from flip to 7 simul, and we had a lot of options for how to go about improving. We had so much theory to sift through, and it seemed like the possibilities were limitless. Clock was no longer the event where you only used the beginner method. Matthew Mayernick is a really good livestream commentator. However, he doesn't do clock, and he's gotten record to say that clock is actually the hardest event to commentate on. I mean, you can't even see the dials. Many people believed him, and this opinion went unchallenged. Enter Clock Cup. An intense format, high-octane solves, a wide range of talent, and regular streaming made Clock Cup instantly prestigious. Competitors would go head-to-head in a first to 15 wins match. We saw incredibly underrated cubers reach the spotlight for the very first time. We saw the fastest solving ever recorded, again and again. When a new season rolled around, everyone was excited, and everyone had their favorites. The commentators were people who were clockers themselves, instead of, and no offense, Matthew Mayernick. As a result, they were able to make insightful and interesting remarks about each solve, such as how well they were turning, which simul move they were on, and whether it was a DNF. It was so clear clock could be just as spectator-friendly as any other event if you had commentary. And with modern camera technology, this commentary would be easy to do. Well, the clock haters still had one thing going for them. Clock was hard to organize because you needed custom covers. If you did not have them, you would risk miscrambling. Despite the troubles that organizers go through to prevent pin flips before the solves, records were still disqualified for that reason. More than anything, it felt like it stood in the way of clock as an event. So, on December 14th, 2023, some new rules were announced. You could now hit pins in inspection. No more custom cube covers were necessary, and there was no need to gingerly handle the clock during inspection, as most did. It made clock competitions much easier on the judges and organizers' behalf. Reactions to this were mixed. Some people thought it was amazing for the clock community, as there would be more and more official rounds of clock worldwide. Others thought it was sacrilegious. What if for a square one solve people were allowed to move the top and bottom layers in the inspection? That would be kinda weird, right? Well, this is the same thing. In spite of these concerns, the WC went through with the plan, and the regulations were officially changed on January 1st. And what followed was predictable. In terms of the times people are getting, clock is the most rapidly evolving event. And yet, there's still so much to improve on. The hardware is still kind of bad, the fastest clockers are still improving, and more advanced techniques are out there, such as pseudo 7 simul. The clock revolution is not over. It's only getting started, and you can be part of it. Because most of the objections that were raised by the cubing community are moot now. Clock is spectator friendly, it has theory behind it, it's not hard to organize, and it is popular. We have nowhere to go but up. So, what are you waiting for? Go practice clock. And join the 3x3 Solvers Discord. Wait, who said that? So for months at this point, I've been working on the sub 6 tutorial video, as you guys know. And if you want live updates about that video, as well as other projects of mine, you should absolutely join the 3x3 Solvers Discord. The 3x3 Solvers Discord isn't just for asking me whether I was roommates with Moses or not though. We are all committed to improving at cubing, and we collaborate to help each other get better. Also, we do have a little fun in the server from time to time sometimes. And there are some pretty insane projects in the making there, and you can be the first one in line to experience them. So what are you waiting for? Join today, and use discount code NOTME for Discord Nitro. I mean, it won't work, but you should still use it. And this video is sponsored by the 303 Solvers Discord. Alright, thanks for watching and bye.